the role of the entrepreneur as the kind of guiding light of a big company who's been around for a long, long time, for like 100 years. But we are at a particular point where entrepreneurs have that particular power of disruption and technology is helping them.
Well, I think the entrepreneurs are the kind of, I suppose, the output of an input that's really more about smartphones, the internet, and just these huge markets and their ability to deliver change. And I think that, looking backwards, which is, I think, always easier than, of course, looking forwards, where we don't know what the future holds. You can see previous periods like this with electricity, with the printing press, and other moments in time where huge change occurs and where lots of other stuff is reordered around a new technology. And of course, today the technology is the internet. We can call it the cloud. We can talk to the various agents for that change, like smartphones and all the various other connected devices that we have. But that mega technology, if I may call it that, is reordering everything. And so we are in an incredibly fertile period of change. Not unhelpful that the capital markets are helpful in that people will lend to those startups. There's deep pockets at the likes of Google and SoftBank and Alibaba that have huge franchises that they obviously want to protect. And the way we have learned to protect tech franchises is to invest in your would-be usurper. And so that model of platforms investing in would-be usurpers is very helpful for those entrepreneurs. But the overall story is about being able to change the way that consumers, particularly consumers, interface with their suppliers and disintermediating the middle person, the middleman that was once dominant. And that theme that starts with things like eBay many years ago, where the Thursday night classified has gone to zero because who needs it in a world of eBay, has obviously extended into the world of, say, minicabs, where the minicab office looks obsolete relative to what it is that Uber can do. And that dynamic is, I believe, being driven across a kind of myriad of other industries.
But just on the narrow role of the entrepreneur themselves, many of these successful companies, no doubt, which are invested in, still have very strong and powerful entrepreneurs, and have those entrepreneurs still have a lot of power and control in those companies. And that's not unique, because throughout history, entrepreneurs building big companies tended to have a big control over those companies. But it's more pronounced, different classes of shares, a lot of power on the board. How do you navigate your way as a fund manager around that? There's been some comment in the markets generally about the power of entrepreneurs and big listed companies. How do you approach that?
I think you approach it with your eyes open. I think you're absolutely right to highlight the fact that there have been, Ford, Rockefeller,
it's been around forever.
Incredible investments that you might have made in a previous life, where you've had to buy into the idea of investing alongside an entrepreneur. And I think that's absolutely true today. By the way, it was true if you had invested in Microsoft or in Oracle. Yes. Certainly in Oracle's heyday, Larry Ellison is still very much involved today. So this is not new news. But I do agree with you in that the way that companies have come to market, companies like Facebook and Google, where the founders, and Snap I think is probably the most high profile example of this, where you have no voting rights whatsoever. And so access markets but have given up very little in terms of control over those industries. So the ultimate question as an investor is, well, there are two. The first one is, do you believe in that entrepreneur? Do you share their vision to the extent that they'll share it with you? And the second thing is, how much of that can you hold in your portfolio? And so I've always believed that you need to answer those two questions. And the way that we've dealt with it in PCT, in the Polar Cap Tech Trust, is to do a lot of work, get comfort, wait for companies to be at certain points in their own life cycle where the risk associated with those platforms is different. We're not investing in Google as a startup. We invested it on the first day it came public when it IPO'd. And then the question is getting comfort with the position sizes that you're prepared to make. And so that's how I deal with the fact that you really are along for the ride on a number of the most exciting technology investments. And you ultimately have to believe that Jeff Bezos and the guys at Google have got most of the answers, and we do, and which is why we have invested in those companies.